All right, Grand Rising. Welcome again to another sunny Sunday of the One Great I Am Awakening. I'm Chris Taylor, one of your hosts, and with me, my partner in spirit and in mind, Mr. Gregory Isaac Thomas, aka Sir T. Sir T, say Grand Rising to our fellow I Am. Get the show on the road.
Yes, sir. Peace and one love. Grand Rising to all. Grand Rising to you as well, sir Chris. Yes, one more Sunday morning, and this time we will be looking for what? Some signs, or we're not looking for any?
We're not looking for any signs.
Don't look for any signs. The signs will follow. You won't have to look for them. They will appear naturally. The observer, listen careful. The observer, the one who is observing, the thing that you are observing, and I'm talking the invisible observer. You are always the one observing. And the thing that you're observing, it will show up later. Whatever you're observing yourself going through, whatever you're observing in your world, invisibly, the sign to confirm that observation it can never fail to show up. It will always show up later. So the signs follow. They do not precede. They do not precede. They follow. That is why when the sign shows up, the observer is always able to identify the sign exactly what it is. Has anything ever showed up in your life and you don't know what? When it shows up, you know what it is because you've seen it before. So you determine what's going to show up based on what you observe. And you are See, Sir Chris, what we fail to understand, my friend, is that when you're sitting in that chair, the man sitting in the chair is not Sir Chris, Sir Chris is the man who, there goes my work phone. Sir Chris is the one who is aware, who is observing the man sitting in the chair. I'll get right back to you guys.
Wonderful take right there, Sir T. You are right. You are so right. The observer is observing its persona, its mask. That's why they call each of us person, because the word person is from the Latin word persona, which means mask. So we're all wearing a mask. We being the consciousness, the awareness of being, So we're just being something and we're aware of what we're being. Interestingly, though, we're not aware that we are the observer on a ignorant level. We're not aware that the thing that we're looking at is not who we are, but the thing that is looking is who we are. How interesting is that? So again, the thing we're looking at is not who we are, but the thing that is looking is who we are. The observer. And so today, we want to debunk or to, realign ourselves with who we truly are by stop looking for signs. So today's topic is stop looking for signs, and the signs will come looking for you. All right? You don't have to look for them. They know who you are because you, the observer, is already aware of what you desire, aware of what you are being in consciousness. And so therefore, you, the observer, and the thing observed are one. But you, the observer, is greater than the thing you are observing. So you don't have to go looking for it because you are one with it. You are being, what do you call it now? A magnet. You are being a magnet which will draw it to you. You don't have to go to it. So but there's a real deeper reason why we shouldn't look for signs. Gonna play a short video again, trying to use some short videos in our lessons to give us more time to expound upon the message, you know. So I'm just gonna play the video out straight. It's not too long, but it's very effective. And this is a student of Neville, call himself Mr. Make Things Happen. Interesting name, Mr. Make Things Happen. So a Neville student, listen to him all the time. Very wise, very wise in his young age and whatnot. So gonna play him, and we're gonna come back and expound upon the message. All right. So today's topic again is signs. Stop looking for signs. They will come looking for you because they do not precede what you're desiring. They're just things that follow afterwards. So let's get to the video or the lesson, and we'll be right back. Certi, he's actually, as you heard him, he's working. So I'm sure he will chime in whenever he has the opportunity to do so. So just keep that in mind. All right. So just welcome again, everyone. Thank you guys for being here this Sunday, and looking forward to this lesson going forward. So give me a second. Let's pull this up. Last night I celebrated my 30-year high school reunion. 30-year high school reunion. 30 years, 3 decades. So you know, it's an amazing journey. 30 years, can't even imagine. 30 years out of high school. But, that's the reality of it. And was very grateful, very thankful for, reaching that milestone mark, of 30 years, getting a chance to see my friends from high school again and rekindling our relationships and, stuff like that. So here's our video of the day. Signs, do they really mean anything? As our topic today is, stop looking for signs. So here's what Mr. Make Things Happen says, or Mr. Make Life Happen says. All right.
Grand Rising. Today I want to talk about signs follow, they do not precede. Signs follow, they do not precede. If you do enjoy self-love videos, make sure to subscribe. I'm going to upload videos every Thursday. Imagination creates all reality. Neville Goddard teaches us that we must subjectively appropriate the objective hope. I'll say it again. We must subjectively appropriate the objective hope. So, subjective is your mental state of mind. This is the invisible. Objective, it's an object, it's something that you actually see. So, a lot of you are working on manifesting deliberately. So, you're trying to experience a desire in your personal life. You might come across some signs. You might see 1111, 333, 777. You'll start seeing these synchronicities. So then you're using this as a guide to show you where you are subjectively. But Neville Goddard teaches us that you don't become who you want to be. You become who you are, or I am. So that is God's name. So the Bible says all things are possible to God. And God's name is I am. So this is your consciousness. So the core of your being is I am. This is your self-concept. So whatever you appropriate subjectively, so whatever mental image, whatever you imagine, that's what you're going to see in the outer world. So you do not need any signs to guide you and let you know if you're going in the right direction. Again, because you don't become what you want, you become who you are. So when you consciously become who you want to be, and you believe that to be true, then that's exactly what you're going to see in the outer world. You're not going to see the complete opposite, because the world is a shadow of what you're thinking. So you're looking for these signs, so you're unconsciously manifesting them. So maybe you want the universe to let you know if you're going in the right direction or if you're doing the right thing. So then you see 1111 and you're thinking, oh, great, I'm vibrating at a good frequency, or I have just raised my vibrations. Well, the thing is, you're unconsciously lying to yourself, so you're using that sign as an excuse. Are you with me? So the signs follow, they do not precede. So once you consciously become aware of the person that you want to be, then you will see signs on the outer world. So if I'm going to the gym and I'm working out physically for 2-3 months, I'm becoming a different person. So I'm no longer the person that's maybe 165 pounds without muscles. So now I'm 185 pounds and I'm a little bit more muscular. So when I look in the mirror is reflecting to me exactly who I am. Does that make sense? So if you're walking around and you're always looking for signs, that's not who you are. Because once you become the person that you want to be, those signs mean nothing to you because you already know who you are. So if you consciously become aware of happiness, love, peace, freedom, then the outer world is going to replicate that. You have changed your state of mind. You don't need to see numerology, signs. You don't need to have any these lucky charms, these lucky rabbit's foot, or you don't need to have these certain things. You don't need to have a full moon or a certain time of the day. Those things mean absolutely nothing because everything is you objectified. Everything is you. So everything is an extension of you, whether it's numbers, whether it's signs, synchronicities, all that is a form of consciousness that you have created in your mind. So if you create the assumption that you're not the person that you want to be, then you're going to see those signs 1111, 777, 888, because you're unconsciously lying to yourself. So what you can do is practice the art of imagination and assuming the wish fulfilled. So if you want to be a person that has abundance, you ask yourself, what would I feel like if I had this type of abundance? Abundance doesn't mean money, it just means a lot of something. So you can be abundant in a lot of things, and then once you become abundant in your mind, then your body will follow. Remember, where the mind goes, the feet soon will follow. So you don't have to look for anything external because everything is coming from the inside. Are you with me? You can have anything you desire, and you don't need anything on the outside to tell you that you can have it. So whenever Goddard says that the signs follow, they do not precede, it means that your outer world will follow once you change in your mindset and you become sure and you become certain that that's the person that you want to be. So you can't assume that you want to be abundant and then tomorrow you start thinking the lack of abundance. Are you with me? So whenever you're creating deliberately and you're manifesting something consciously, what you want to do is you want to ask yourself, how would I feel if I had this right now? And if that doesn't bring the feeling that you can create a small and short imaginal scene, so you're creating a movie clip that implies that you have your desire. So I know you want that new car. How would you feel if you had the new car? You don't know? Okay, well, let's create a scene. Let's create a movie that implies that you do have that car. So if you had that new car right now, what exactly would you be doing? Would you be driving to the store? Would you be driving to work? Would you be picking up your friends? Would you be at the car wash washing your new car? So all of those things you can put together in a movie clip, and you give it the tones of reality. So you want to feel the vividness of it. And then once you open up your eyes, you're going to forget where you were at. You're going to completely be shocked that you're not inside of your car, and this is how you know you've done it correctly. So your mood's going to change. You're going to get goosebumps. You're going to get a rush. This is how you know that you're planting the seed correctly. And then once you imagine that, you can do it before bed, at the end of the day. Just pick a time when you're relaxed, because your subconscious mind is easily persuaded. So you need to persuade your subconscious mind that you have your desire, and you do this with your feelings, because feeling is the secret. Are you with me? So remember that where the mind goes, the feet soon will automatically follow. You do not need to see any external signs to tell you the person that you are or the person that you are becoming. So you don't have to pay attention to the outside world. The outside world is already dead. So for now on, if you do see these signs, it's okay to see the signs. It's not a bad thing. But just remember that you're unconsciously creating these signs. You're looking for an excuse instead of doing the mental work. A lot of people say, well, I have to do this. I don't have the money. I have to physically work hard for it. Okay, then you're putting yourself in a situation to where you have to work hard. There's somebody right now working 80, 100 hours a week, and they don't make much money. They don't have abundance. And then on the other opposing end, there's somebody who barely works 20, maybe 30 hours, maybe even 15 hours. And they're having a wealthy, healthy, lavish life. So when it comes to money or abundance, it doesn't require a lot of physical work. It's mental work.
Shorty,
Yes, yes, sir, Chris.
yeah, see, yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir. Just to chime in on what the narrator just expressed right now. When you do the imagination, it shouldn't feel like work to you to do the imagination. The actual imagination should be something that you enjoy just as much as you would enjoy, as you're going to enjoy the actual experience of it when it manifests in three dimensions. It is something that you should look. It should be play for you. It shouldn't be work. It should be just. It should be a joy. It shouldn't be something that you labor yourself into doing it. Why I have to do this again? No, it should be something that you enjoy doing. That you just naturally find yourself doing it. Because that's when, in other words, this thing takes no effort. If it's taking effort, then something is not right. It should be effortless. That's why you do it in that slumber, in that drowsy state when you're that's the most relaxed state that you can find yourself in before you fall asleep. Whilst you're awake, you cannot be any more relaxed than that. So that's how relaxed. When you're relaxed like that, you can't work. You're not working. You're chill. So it should be a chill exercise that you do. If it becomes effort, then the seed not the ground not try if it growing. When you put the seed in the ground, it not try if it growing. It just grow. All right. So that there is a hint, for all listeners, for us as well, that if you find it being effort, you might as well start over. Shouldn't be an effort.
The wonderful point there is Certi, and I'm going to add to it in a little bit, but I'm going to let this tape finish. So only a few more minutes, or maybe a minute or so left, and then we're gonna come right back and continue from where you left off.
Now, you may be required to do some type of physical work after you created your imaginal scene, but you don't have to do it forcefully, because where the mind goes, the feet soon will follow. So you're automatically going to get up early and go to the gym. You're going to get up early and take notes. You're going to get up early and start studying. You're going to get off work. You're going to go work on your second business. So you're going to be led. Your intuition is going to guide you in the right way, because everything comes from the inside. Do not look on the outside. Everything is coming from within you, because you are powerful. You are the creator. You are God. You are I am. Your imagination creates all reality. Where the mind goes, the feet soon will follow. Make sure to stay tuned to the end of this video. I do have 2 amazing recommended videos for you guys to watch. Life is good. If you did like this video and it resonates with you, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell.
All right, and we're back as promised. Short video. That was from Mr. Make Life Happen, a never got it student, and his topic there was signs. What do they really mean? You know, and so it's a good point. A lot of good points he was making there. But to continue from what Serti had just mentioned, when you're imagining and stuff like that, it's when we imagine something, there's a saying, effortless effort. So we want to get to the place where, in our imagining, it doesn't feel like it's strenuous or resistant. There should be a flow state where it just flow like water. You'll never see the stream flow upwards. It's not possible. It always goes with the flow of gravity, or the flow downward, not upward. Us, on the other hand, we tend to go against natural, nature. And we have within us an interesting aspect called consciousness, but we were never taught, never told what is consciousness and how it really works, or the inner workings. So the consciousness being one is dual. And so there is a exchange between the two consciousness, or mind, if you will. One is conscious mind, one is subconscious mind. But it is not two, what do I call it now? Two powers. It's one power that has 2 different operations for a reason. It takes 2 to make something. It takes 2 to unmake it. All right? It always takes 2, not 1. But in this instance, the power being 1 has a duality. We had a topic some time back called the dual nature of consciousness. So consciousness, again, is 1, but it has a dual effect. It works with 2 different parts to it. It's like a nut and a bolt. They are always 1, but you can see how you can separate the nut from the bolt, or the bolt from the nut, but they work together. You cannot use 2 bolts and you cannot use 2 nuts. It will never work. They have to be opposite, but remain 1. 2 sides of the same coin. There's always an up and a down, a right and a left, but it's one direction you're looking at. Okay, so in this instance, the conscious mind is the mind that you're using to imagine, to meditate, to think, to reason, to desire. But then you have the other mind, which is the feminine aspect. So the conscious is the male, then you need the feminine. The feminine is what does the work. This is where scripture says, it is not I that do anything, it's the Father in me that does the work or doeth the work. The Father in me, they're talking about there is the subconscious, you know? So it's the working mind, meaning that it's the mind that does the work. Whatever you desire, think about, that's what creates your manifestations. That's what goes to work and bring forth the thing that the conscious mind first desired or contemplated or imagined. So, and a keynote to that, you heard the guy say, wherever the mind goes, the feet follows. I want you guys to notice something, which goes we're unaware of. The word the prefix fe, fe, is what's attached to the word female. Okay, and you have your male. So both sexes in this case are male, is male. It's one, but one of the male has that prefix attached to it for a reason. That's a Latin prefix or a Latin word or connotation, which means to make. Okay, fe means to make something or to do something. That's what it means. That's why it's attached to the feminine aspect. That's why the word feminine begins with fe, female, fe. Okay, and feminine, which is that first four letters, femi, means it's talking about female, the female aspect, the woman, the womb, the one with the womb. And then the nine, the feminine, is telling you that it takes 9 months for a woman to create a baby. Or the 9 is the highest level, highest number in our number system, which is the highest number for consciousness. So there's a lot of instances where it tells you what is going on with the two aspects of the mind. Sorry, T, I saw you had a hand up. What did you want to add to that?
False alarm, that was. False alarm. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, it's so that's where you know not to, you consciously or the conscious mind, which is one with the consciousness. It is just that aspect of the mind that has to think, reason, desire, imagine, contemplate. That part of the mind or the consciousness job is to be aware of something. Okay, that part of the mind, the conscious mind, is the mind that is aware of something, it wants to it wants to do, to be, to experience, to enjoy, whatever you want to attach to it. That's the part of the consciousness that does these things. The other part, the subjective mind or the subconscious mind, the female aspect of the mind, that's what does what you created first in the conscious mind. That's what goes to work and bring forth the thing that you meditated on. So they're working together. They're not working against each other. They work together. But because we're not aware of it, we on the other end go against the naturality of the conscious mind. The conscious mind is trying to do the work for the conscious mind and the subconscious at the same time. So this is where we go around looking for signs. In the scripture, they call it the Pharisees and the Sadducees. It's talking about the conscious mind who asked Jesus about signs from heaven and all these type of different things. You know, when will this happen, or how do we know that you know, these things will happen or it's going to happen? You know, it's talking about the conscious mind always, because it's aware of something. It wants to find out, well, how is something going to happen? When is something going to happen? And if it's even going to happen. And the reason why you should never indulge in these things is because last week we talked about faith, that, you know, when you work, meaning that you are, you know, going out there acting as if you already have the thing desired, you know. By your work, you show your faith, you know, meaning that you are not waiting for the signs to come, or you're not waiting for this thing to happen. You are actively participating, you know, with yourself or with others or whatever, as if the thing desired is already here. It's already happened, you know. So you're showing complete faith that you don't need any sign or any uh, obvious sign that you have the thing tangibly. You are doing it still in your own mind, you know, regardless of evidence. You are still going out there and acting the part, you know, not waiting for something to show you that, oh, it's on the way so that you can continue. You are not waiting for anything to prove to you that something is happening. You are doing it regardless. You don't need any proof, any outside proof. You're living from within, or you're living from the end at all times. Okay? So you don't question if something is going to happen. Don't look for signs, because it will interfere with your faith. Your faith will waver, because you will have faith right now that you are motivated about something, and then when it's not happening, meaning that the signs are not present, it's not obvious, you cannot consciously sense or see anything, your faith starts to wane. So faith should never be we call it now an event. Okay, it's not an event. It's something that is a journey. Okay, that you have to always keep the same level of faith at all times. You have to always be ascended in the mountains, as scripture would say, ascend to the hills. Every time somebody has to do something like Moses or Jesus or whoever, they're always going up into the mountains. All right. It just means to stay up at your highest level of awareness. And the highest level of awareness is the feminine aspect. Okay. Being the subconscious mind. That is your highest level of awareness. Living in that aspect of all at all times. So you're leaving the subconscious mind, the feminine aspect, you're leaving that part of your consciousness to do the work. Therefore, there will be no effort, because once the conscious mind is involved, it creates effort. It creates, and when you're showing effort, there's going to be a resistance, because you're going to consciously say to yourself, it's been 2 weeks, it's been 2 months, it's been too long. You're going to be saying or thinking these things, and then all of a sudden your faith that you had before, because you were excited, starts to wane. Your faith cannot be based on motivation. It has to be based on discipline, meaning you're always going to be steadfast, no matter, because when you look at looking for signs, they're going to be, and this is why it's bad, you're going to have days when, you know, the world just topsy-turvy, you know, so you might be looking for signs like that. Well, the economy is upside down right now. Trump just said this is going to happen, or they're going to take this away, and there's all these different type of things, and it might interfere with. You might have a specific desire, goal, or dream that you want to manifest, and you may have a particular time that you're looking forward to, having this manifestation. But if a news come out right now that somehow seem to be an hindrance, like it's doesn't look like it's going to even make any sense. You do this thing, you have this idea manifest right now because of this thing that comes out now. It's going to interfere with it. Your faith is going to win because you're looking for all types of different things, whether it's a good sign, bad sign, a sign that sponsors your desire, your idea, or something that's working against. You cannot pay any attention to any of that. You have to just it's got to always be an internal job, an inside job. Cannot go out there looking outside of yourself because you're going to see and hear all type of different things that is going to somewhat negate or show some kind of a hindrance to your desire. So that's one of the biggest reasons you should never be looking for signs, because you're going to see and hear things that will interfere with your faith, interfere with your attention to the thing that you desire. Remember, we said you should live from the desire, not thinking about it, thinking how it's going to happen. You should bypass all of the middle ground, the part that has to happen before the thing manifests. You cannot think about what's supposed to happen next, in that order. You're going to have, just if you guys have looked at, the market, stocks and all these different things on the chart, you will see the movement of the stock going up and down all the time, but you cannot pay attention to the up and down movement. You have to pay attention to where you want the stock to go, where you desire for it to reach before you potentially sell, to make some money. You cannot worry about, well, I bought it at $5 and now it's at $4.50. Now it's at $3.50. You're looking at it's descending. You're not looking at, oh, I'm going to sell when it reaches $10. I'm going to double my money. That's what you should pay attention to. The $10 that you're living from, that you have desired the stock to be. And when it gets there, it is then that you will sell. But because you're focusing on the descent and not the ascent, your faith wavers. And then what do? In most people's case, about 70%, if not more, they get out of the trade. They sell the stock because they stop thinking from their desired end, which is $10 before they sell. And they lost faith because it went down to $3.50, possibly $3. So you cannot focus on that. You have to just focus only at the wish fulfilled. What your desire is, focus on that. You're looking for signs for it to rise from $5 to $6 to $7. Say, yes, it's happening. If that's what you're looking for and it's not happening, you're going to lose faith. You're going to lose any type of momentum you had in your consciousness, in your motivation, in your own awareness. You're going to lose it because the thing that you were looking for to happen did not happen. And that's the biggest reason why you should never look for signs, because you're going to be disappointed. Going to be disappointed. But if you only live in the wish fulfilled, live from the desired, outcome, you're looking you're staying in that moment for when that happens, irregardless to anything that happens on the way there. You should understand and prepare yourself for ups and downs. The ups and downs does not mean it's not going to get there. It simply means this is how the the market is. This is how the the desire that you have. This is all the things that will come about, and they're usually from preconceived notions, from previous state of beings, state of mind that you held on to. That is happening on your way to your desire. These things must follow your previous conception of yourself. You know, there was a time when you had a lot of resistance or doubts, you know, and so when you finally desire something and you've made up your mind now that this is it, all those previous conceptions that you had, they will show up to remind you that that's who you were. You have to understand, say, when these things are happening, that's not who you are or who you are being. Right now, you're being a desire from of a greater proportion, and you're living from that end. But in the meantime, the things that you used to be or that you were, they may play out on the way to the new conception of yourself. You have to understand that's how consciousness works. And so when these things show up, they're going to be short lived. But if you attach yourself to them, you're going to become one with them again and start repeating that same the process all over again. Yes, sir, T. Sir T? Here. Sir T, are you there? I don't know if I'm having issues with his phone. All right, let's raise your hand when you want to come back in, Sir T. I'm not sure what happened right there just now with your mute and stuff. But you know, looking for signs, guys, is very dangerous. And I like to use the idea of you know, stocks or even cryptocurrency, or whatever. Just there's something that shows you movements of something that was at a particular price, and then it's been proposed or said to be at this price at a certain particular time, and then people get in because they were told that it's going to go from $1 to $10. But in between that $1 $10 move, it might take several weeks, maybe several months before it gets to that. And so people have their own conception, their own idea of when it should get to the $10. And if it doesn't get to it at that time, especially if it's showing, if it's going backwards, if it goes under what they bought it for, they're going to completely lose it, and they're going to decide to get out, decide to sell. You know, but if you understand this is how the market is and stuff like that, you will not concern yourself with the movements in between your projected goal. Your projected goal is what you should be focused on, what you should set your eyes on, and leave everything else that's going on alone. Don't get emotional about it. That is the next thing that really separates us from our desire. Our emotions in which we start to entertain um, scarcity, maybe a loss, maybe, just some type of resistance that you will incur and or you will come upon. And so we get emotional about it. We start to worry, we start to fret, we start to question, is this thing going to happen? Is it real? Is it something that I really want? You're not steadfast in the thing that you had desired because you're working from a state of motivation. The only state you should be working from is discipline. This is why in the biblical story with Jesus walking around with his 12 disciples, the 12 disciples represents your conscious mind. And this Jesus character represents the subconscious. Notice that they are always together. As in consciousness, the subconscious and the conscious mind are always together. They're never apart, always together. In our everyday going and coming, as flesh, we represent the physical expression of the subconscious and the conscious, the man being the conscious, the woman being the subconscious. So we are separated in the 3D plane on this planet, on this earth, but in the consciousness, in the mental realm, we remain one. We cannot be separated because it is one consciousness. It is always together. One is above, one is below. One is called heaven, one is called earth. The earth section is where the conscious mind is in control. The heaven is where the subconscious mind is in control. But they're not separate. They are still one mind operating on different levels of awareness. Okay? The conscious, again, controls the physical, the 3D. The subconscious controls the spiritual, the heaven. Okay? The unseen. All right? But they are one. They cannot be separate, or else nothing would be possible. There would be no projection of anything. A projector and the film are one. That's why the film is projected on the screen. If they're separated, if the projector is by itself and the film is not in the projector, I don't care how much light you're shining through the projector, it's not going to project anything to the screen because the film is not there. So everything is always one. They just operate in different conscious awareness, different sections of the one consciousness. And we have to understand that. Once we understand it, it creates a flow. And once you reach that flow state where you are not concerned with the outcome of something that you desire, as the topic says, stop looking for signs, and the signs they will come looking for you. All that means is one day, out of nowhere, that thing that you had desired and have somewhat got preoccupied with other things and have forgotten all about it. You have stopped looking for signs. You have stopped concerning yourself as to when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. You have stopped doing all these things. And out of the blue, the thing manifests. That's why the scripture says that, it will come upon you like a thief in the night. I think they would say Jesus will return. This is why people think Jesus is going to return because it says he will return like a thief in the night. Remember, Jesus means Jehovah saves. I am saves. Okay? It means salvation. So whatever it is that you have desired, will come upon you like a thief in the night, meaning that it will come upon you at a moment in which you were not expecting it, just like a thief. A thief is not a thief if you expected a thief. That's why it's a thief, because you didn't expect him or her. You understand? It's a surprise. So your manifestations, when left, um, when you stop interfering with the outcome, once you stop interfering with the outcome, it just comes to you naturally because you're no longer resisting it. Every time you're thinking of it, where is it? How is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? You are interfering and you are resisting. You are pushing it away. You have to become magnetic, in which you draw this thing into your into your experience. And the best way to do it is to not think about it, only live in the end. Whatever end that is the only thing that you are looking forward to. All the other things that are happening, you are not paying it no attention. You will understand that these are the things that must happen in the eventual manifestations. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And that's why you should not look for signs, because they generally are going to tell you that the thing you desired is not going to happen. And when you do that, you see, once your faith waver, you see, once you start losing your faith, you're no longer living in the end. Ultimate faith is living in the end of the thing desired. Once your faith start waver, you're leaving the end and you're coming back to the beginning or the middle. You're coming back to somewhere to see, to interfere, to see, to inquire what's going on. Why is, I'm at the end of my desire, but I'm here waiting too long. When is this thing going to happen? How come it not reach yet? You're going out there to see what's going on instead of staying where you are. Remain magnetic. Draw the thing to you. Scripture says, if you draw near to me, then I will draw near to you. Okay, drawing near to something, to this me, is yourself. Okay, draw near to who you are being. Draw near to your idea. Draw near to that, meaning to live in the end. That's how you draw near. You live in the end. And whilst living in the end, as scripture says, then I will draw near to you. That desire, that thing that you been longing for, will draw near to you. You become one with it, in the end. So that's why you shouldn't look for signs. Certi, or you stay. I know you're busy with work and thing. I don't know if you got caught up with your job and everything. Well, you can.
Well, yeah, sir, Chris. I'm very, very caught up in too many different things at this moment here. But
Okay.
I see Sir Marlon in the chat there. See if Sir Marlon can chime in and give you a hand.
All right. Sounds good. Mr. Awakening, what's going on, sir? Are you able to chime in? Let me see. He too might be on the job, might be out there in the streets, working and stuff like that. But raise your hand whenever you're able to jump in, Sir Marlon, if you're able to hear me. Not sure if you're busy with work and everything, But but I want you guys to, 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 think. That's what it's right. So direct message. Okay. I want you guys to think, of anything that you are desiring to appropriate. And here's how Mr. Awareness, Mr. Make Life Happen says it based on what Never says. We must subjectively appropriate the objective. Okay? The objective is, for instance, something that obviously is going to make you happy, make you feel wholesome, make you feel alive or accomplished, whatever that may be. It could be anything. That's the thing that you have to subjectively appropriate. And all that really means is to see the thing already happening in your imagination and catching the mood, the feeling, having the inward, not outward, but inward feeling of joy, of satisfaction, of bliss, whatever that would create for you, if you know it. If you know what it would do for you, then subject your mind to that feeling, to that end desire, that end result. Subject your mind to that. And then that is you subjectively appropriating the end result or the objective. Once you do that, it's like planting a seed in the soil, covering it up, and then just add water and sunlight. Those two things, in most cases, you do not have to do, because rain fall and the sun shines. But if it's not raining, you can always water the seed yourself. But the sun will shine upon it. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do that part. Okay? The hardest part for you to do was to plant the seed. And then water and sunlight. And then you don't worry about when the tree or when the seed is going to come up out the ground. Just do the water and sunlight. Water and sunlight is living in the end. That's all you have to do. If you worry about when it's going to come up, you're going to end up digging up the seed. I'm telling you. Because sometimes it's going to go by 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, or even longer, and you will not see any signs. And you're going to wonder, did I plant the seed deep enough, or is it too shallow, or did I plant it too deep? All these things are going to come to your mind, and you're going to act according to how you're feeling. If you have any feeling of concerns or doubts, you're going to act accordingly and interfere with the seeds. And right as you do, you have to start all over because you interfere with the process. Yes, Mr. Awakening. What you said?
Yes, sir, Chris. Blessed love to you and all on the panel. No, I was on a call, and when I came back to just now, I saw that host would like to unmute. So I figured that you might have been trying to talk to me.
Yeah, man.
I said something.
I nudged you, because I was trying to get your attention to.
Oh no, yeah, I was on a call with the wife real quick and things, so I never really got to catch what it was that you were talking about in the moment.
All right. Yeah, but
Can bring me up to speed.
As you know, we're talking about today, stop looking for signs. That is today's mindset lesson. Stop looking for signs, because when you look for signs, they're going to change your mood. If you were motivated, which you should never use motivation for anything, because motivation wanes. You should only use discipline, like the 12 disciples walking with Christ, you know. So you have to discipline your conscious mind. So I was just saying, you know, what was your take? I'm not sure how much of the program you have heard once you came in.
Yeah, yeah, I did come in late. No one, but you're absolutely right, you know, Sir Chris. And like I say, all right, let's put it this way. You remember a couple of weeks ago, I said to you, I think I said it to Sir Tito, say a lot of times before we got awakened to the point we are right now, we used to manifest ignorantly, not knowing that that's what we were doing.
Yes,
You
yes.
understand? No. What we did, we gave that gratitude to an outside force whenever something did come to, according to, you know, something that we needed or wanted or whatever.
Yes.
And we gave the gratitude or, you know, we gave it to something outside of ourselves. Not realizing that it is the level of, how can I say this? It is, we created that thing just by how much we desired, and not just desired, but lived in already having whatever we desired, living in it. All right. It's like, you know, so Chris, remember back in the day when we used to do the 9 to, well, I mean, some of us still do the 9 to 5, but more while things tough and before you get the paycheck, money already spent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, you already know where I go towards the light, the rent, the water, and the grocery. And maybe one brethren where they lend you 2 bills a month ago.
Yep.
You already know if you have to send that back, send that, you know what I mean? So, you know, you can a little 2 grand and a little 3 grand and thing, and you already live in the moment of getting the money. Oh,
Spending.
yeah, man, I spend it, man. Spend it, and you know exactly how it I go spend.
Yeah.
Already. So you move past the point of you already receive the money, you know. It just no materially happen. But you already moved past that point of you getting the money.
Yeah.
You know. So that's a done deal already, you know.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you go even as far as seeing yourself a call in the bridge and I say, yo, I send on that 2 bills a year. Respect. And gratitude, man. I appreciate it. You already do that in your mind already. I mean, you already calculate the light bill, $244. I go towards the light. And you already know, say, by the time you're done, why all you calculate it, you only have $189 left back out of the paycheck. So you already think about how you're going to make the week work the next coming week. All right. What I'm saying is, we used to use that type of power within our creativity with such an intensity, unknowingly that that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Some people at the end of it, them throw it all away. I'm gonna say throw it all away. It don't come already, you know, because them never do not thank God and thank you, Jesus business until when something happen and them get a reliever for their mind. Then them take all of that now and transfer it to something outside of themselves. All right. You see me, I did? So what I'm saying is, you know, we used to do this and unaware, not being fully aware of that it is us. And us have right. The power within us, not outside of us. So moving into our consciousness now, and being fully aware. You understand? there is a level of you say looking for signs, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, look to see if it really happened. Something that you caused to happen before. And no, God never answer you. No, God never, it was a hit and miss with that belief.
Yeah.
And the hit no means say it make it happen no. And your own frequency, your own power
Yeah.
of manifestation. I wonder if you follow me. I hope everybody follow me so far. Though.
Yeah, man.
So looking for the signs, we have to make that null and void. We just have to do. Just do, knowing
I like how
that
you say that.
the
Just do.
result. Yes, no man. And knowing so the result is inevitable.
Yes.
It's an expectation because you already know. If that make it easier for understand.
I like how you worded everything right there, Sir Marlon.
Yeah, man.
Just do and rest assured that the manifestation is inevitable. As a matter of fact, the manifestation is really within, you know. The manifestation first happened within. See, we weren't taught this. The creative act, creation is twofold, you know. In other words, I like to use the mirror thing. Before the mirror can show you what you're wearing, you have to first put on what you want to wear. And then the mirror is going to show it. So you first do it, and then the mirror repeats what you did. So creation is still the same thing. You create it in the mind, the conscious mind that is, you imagine it, you put it together there, subjectively, okay? And then you turn it over now to the mirror, which is the subjective mind, the God mind, as some would call it, which is the feminine aspect, the creative mind, the reflective mind, the projective mind. You turn it over to that part of your being because you are one with it, you know. You are one awareness, one consciousness. You are not separate, you're not two, you are one. You just have a dual aspect of how you as how you as consciousness work. And so everything has to be made just like that. Okay? You have if you're constructing a building, you first have the engineer or the guy that draws the blueprint. Okay? So the blueprint is the design, the conscious design of how you want the building to look. But then you have to turn it over to the builders, the one that does the work, which is the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the one that builds the thing that you first drew up or wrote down. You know, I look back some years back, you know, Sir Amal and everyone here. Um, I never really realized it. The other day, I was just thinking to myself, I used to draw how I want myself to look. I used to actually sit down in the mirror and draw myself. So I used to have braids, or but when I didn't have the braid, you know, I'm talking about my hair is low like it is right now, and I drew how I want to look when I have my braids, and so I would draw the design and everything, how I wanted to look. If I wanted to come down on my shoulder or behind my back or in a ponytail or whatever, I would actually draw how I want the braid to look. So this is me not having the braids yet. I don't have any hair yet. I didn't grow my hair out yet. I'm just drawing what I have imagined, but I put it down on paper. Didn't even realize what I was doing. I was just acting naturally, just flowing. Didn't realize what I was doing. I was creating by imagining first, putting it down on a piece of paper, and every now and then I would go back and look at it. I would look at it. And it's not something that happens overnight. Of course, I'm going to have to grow my hair out for maybe 6 months, maximum a year or so, before I can actually have that. But unbeknownst to me, I drew it and I put it away somewhere. No more focus on that. I'm off to something else. And somewhere, somehow, I ended up start growing my hair out. Didn't plan to do it. I just drew that thing as how I would want to look. If and when I grew my hair out, if I had to have braids, that's how I wanted. I have no braids yet. Bald head, basically. But then down the road, somewhere, somehow, I never call it inspired action. Something inspired me to now start, for whatever reason, grow up my hair. And I'm telling you guys, when I eventually braided my hair for the first time, it looked exactly how I had drew it on the paper. No lie. I didn't tell at the time my ex. I didn't tell her how I wanted my hair to be braided. I just said braid my hair. It was the first time I was going to do it, and this was maybe, oh my goodness, this was years later, maybe 2 years later down the road, maybe even 3 years, I believe it was, when I eventually braided my hair. And when I go back and look at what I found the picture, it had the same design at how I had drew it. Didn't even make the connection that as we're making now, that we're creating subjectively and then it appropriates itself objectively by way of the subconscious in some future time. But because I had let go of it, because I had stopped focusing on it, I wasn't looking for signs like, when me here I go grow, or when will I decide to do it? I didn't think about anything like that. It just happened naturally. I don't know why I chose to grow my hair at the time, but it was just growing and I just let it grow and decided to braid it one day, completely forgetting that I had drew that picture. There was another time I wanted my hair to look a certain way when I had like a high top and I wanted it to look curly or whatever the case may be. And I drew it exactly how I would want it to look. And that's exactly how it ended up happening, just the way I drew it. So I realized that looking back, that writing something or drawing something works in unison with your mental state. It may not be something that happens soon or whatever the case may be, but if you were to internalize something and then write it down, the same thing happened with my barbershop. I never remembered until years later. I saw it in the book that I had drew the barbershop. I had completely uh, I drew that barbershop in 2010, and by the end of 2014, I was in that barbershop. 4 years later, I had completely forgot that I even drew the barbershop until I saw the painting. I mean the drawing. Some maybe 2015, 2016, like a year or two later, after I got into the barbershop. Yes, sir, Marlon.
Yes, sir, Chris. So you're telling me no, everything I just said. So you're telling me no, at some point in my life, I um I subconsciously um um what's that word we used a while ago? At some point in time, it's the wrong place. You know?
Subjectively appropriate.
Yeah, you said at some point in time, I manifested myself this balding head.
It happens all the time. Yep.
You tell me says me give myself this wallet this whole time.
Yeah, man.
No.
It's somewhere, somehow,
Ah,
you created that.
I hear him, man. I hear.
You know.
Ah, goodness.
So that's why you have to be careful what you think. As Scripture tells you, do not take the Lord's name in vain, because he will not be held guiltless. Meaning, you think of something that you didn't really mean. That's all it means to do not take the Lord's name in vain. You can never take the Lord's name in vain, you know. There's no such thing. What it's saying, do not take it in vain, because you cannot. Because the thing that you said or think or felt, whichever way you want to look at it, and things say it's just words, it's just a feeling, it's just I was mad at the time or whatever the case may be. No, that thing will manifest because you did not mean it.
And not only that, Sir Chris, we have to look upon this thing prospectively, because just like how
Yes, right. Hold on. Yeah, go ahead, Sir Mala.
oh yeah, just like how you can love a thing into being, you can hate it into being the same way, because remember in the Job, what the Job said, the thing that I fear most has come upon me.
Exactly.
So you have to be careful. So maybe I don't hate ballad people. Hey, hold on. You know, say when I was in the force now, back in Jamaica many moons ago, there's this guy where they come from. I was on special squad, and we went to OG race working, doing some special apps down there because there's some trouble. And there's this guy, younger police, but an older virgin, is an older person than myself, but it was a younger colleague in terms of the work. But anyway, long story short, I used to mess with this guy so much. But it was all in fun and game. GT will tell you guys that me and Shirley Brown, we was a dynamic duo, man, for, just full of gimmicks and all them something I want to it is. People used to dodge when them say we are come. Because we have something for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the bottom line, what me I said doing the circus, I used to call this man bald headed man. I kid you not. I used to call this man bald headed man. I used to do some little gimmicks. But it's all in fun though, car. He was he was game. He wasn't upset over it. He was
that's fun and game.
Yeah man. He was down, man. But he never have nothing. He never have nothing to come back at me with. You know what I mean? But we used to say now fun away, we call him, here comes the bald headed man. And his minion. He's another police who called Swamping. Swamping. I don't know if GT remember that police thing and thing. Swamping. I think an Echo Village man them they still. But yeah, I say here comes the bald headed man and his minion. Swamping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how his cartoon way. But yeah, man. But just remember though, I just say, let me just share this with you guys. Okay? I remember this whole bald headed thing, man. We used to make a big game out of it, man.
Well, as I'm saying, God, your subconscious mind doesn't have a sense of humor, you know. It is impartial. You understand?
The subconscious mind say, "Watch me."
You might consciously laugh, yes, because you're conscious of it, but the subconscious mind could care less. It takes everything you say to heart, because it is the heart of the mind. Let's go to Sir T. And you must say, I'm almost tired by now. Yes, Sir T.
Yeah, guys. Sir Chris, you know what? You just said exactly what I was intending to say, that the subconscious mind has no sense of humor. You say something like Sir Marlon, you're messing around with the police there, but you say it jokingly, but say it enough times, and the subconscious mind will register it. That's why Scripture would say, "Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord guiltless," and the other part of it say, "For he shall not be held. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord in vain, for he shall not be held guiltless who take the name of the Lord in vain." Meaning, under no circumstances, you're not get away with it. You cannot get away with it. So a lot of things that we see come up in our life and we wonder where it come from, how it's somewhere, somehow, consciously or unconsciously, you invited it in. You invited it in because your world of experience is your garden and you are the farmer doing all of the planting. No, somebody else can plant in your garden, you know. But if you were being a careful watchman, you would have root up a seed there before it grew and turned into a big tree. Somebody else can plant in your garden. If you ever hear somebody say, that's the saying we say, if you don't control your mind, somebody will control it for you.
Yes.
Yeah, people can instigate little things into your mind, and instead of you throw it out, you did a quarrel about it, and you've allowed that seed to start growing. So somebody else can plant in your garden. But if you were being careful, you would have weed that out a long time. You know, so everything that you're experiencing, it's your garden. Your world of experience is your garden. And you are the farmer, and you're also the gardener, and you're also the watchman who keeps the gate. So that if anything creep in, you see it early and remove it. Because things will creep in. Have you ever found yourself constantly thinking about stuff that you know that is not coming out of your realm of thought and your thing that, but you allow somebody to plant that in your mind and you're there thinking about it. You allow somebody to put that thing in your thought process and now you're there thinking about it, even though that's not you. That's not you don't go that way. You know, so we all have an assignment. Minding your own business. We do that on Tuesday nights. Mind your business, minding your own business. It's your primary assignment. Your primary assignment is to watch over your mind. Watch over your mind, watch over your thoughts, and most importantly, watch over your modes. Watch over your mode. Listen, I should say this to myself many times a day. But you see, controlling your emotions, Circus, you're very good at in the years that I've come to know you, you're very good at this. You see, controlling your emotions, meaning do not react to your emotions at all. Whether it be an emotion of that of joy, or it becomes it's an emotion of anger or sorrow or whatever. Don't react to them. Observe them, but don't react to them. Act, but don't react. In other words, if you jump up and do a round of applause, it should be because you choose to do it. It's not because you're reacting to what happened. And if you get angry and draw a shovel and clap down a man with it, act and not react because of nothing. You understand what I say? You're acting. You saw it appropriate to do that. Because there's a time on earth for everything. There's a time when it's appropriate to draw a shovel and use it down a man. You know. There's a time when it's appropriate. But you should do that as an action, not as a reaction. If you do it as a reaction, you're going to end up being sorry. But if you do it as an action, so what happens? So if you, let's say you stand up at your gate and you see this brother come down the road and he argue with your whole lady because of whatever the transaction he man did have, and you hear this man argue with your mother, and you stand up and observe what going, you're not getting involved in them business because you don't know about what transaction him and your mother did have, what she him did sell her and him never finished PR or whatever. You don't know what did happen. And him did you argue with your mother. Good, you're observing it. But then all of a sudden you see this man drape up your mother and push her down the ground. It is the right thing to do for you, sitting and lick him down. In that moment, and I know react, you're acting. So it is the same thing to you towards your emotions. Don't react to them. Act. In other words, the action that you're taking that action cognitively. You're not taking it out of emotion, because anything you do out of your emotions, anything you say when you're angry, it's gonna be the wrong thing. And you catch what I'm saying? So you don't react, learn to control your emotions. And I've met very few people in life that have that seem to have that in the mastered. So Chris, you're one of them. Me and Sam Alan talk about that all the time. that have a mastery over their emotions. And if you're well on your way when you have that something there, I think some people are just naturally born like that. I think some people are just naturally born like that, and those people usually make very good leaders. You can keep your emotions in check.
Okay. The emotion is dangerous. Certainly, it is the devil. When your emotions is that's why the devil, this expressed our symbolic representation of the devil is red, because red is a symbol of emotions. And that's why they've always paint the devil as red and having a fork in him hand and two horns, and there's somebody that looks irritable and stuff like that. So the devil is not a person or an entity. It is just a part of your awareness that is there, when activated, it appears, if you activate that part. Any part of your awareness that is there is necessary. It's just how it is used, or when it is used. As I say, Certi, if somebody approach you, if you lick it down with a piece of 2x4 or whatever, if you're not able to get mad or return that kind of aggression, then you're in trouble. So that part of you have to be available to you. That part of you have to be in your consciousness, where you can defend yourself or act accordingly, because it is a part of your awareness. It's just when do you use it? That is the difference, All right, sir, man. Yeah, when do you use it is the appropriate time. So if it is used, I would say out of context, then you're being, this devil, acting emotionally, and then you end up doing something. And this is why people end up in gunfights or stabbings or some kind of fight that they didn't really want. It's just that they're following the emotions, they follow the emotions. So it's like water, which is always room temperature and calm, but if you add it to the stove under heat, it must absorb or become the heat. So your emotions are the same. If you follow your emotions, if you attach yourself to that particular emotion, you must become it. You be in consciousness. If you attach your consciousness, primarily your conscious mind, that is, to certain things, it will take on that nature or that identity and act accordingly. But once you become aware of these things, that's how the mind works. You have a little bit more heads up or control. You're ahead of the game, as they would say. But again, these things must be a part of your awareness, because they may come a time when you have to use it. And if a man could not get mad or angry or or whatever, you would not be able to defend yourself or act appropriately in a particular situation. You just want to make sure that these things are only done when necessary, not being aggressive, but just acting appropriately at that particular time.
So that's it, exactly, Sir Chris. So in other words, when you do act, you're not acting out of emotion. You're acting out of appropriation. You're doing what's appropriate in the moment.
What's appropriate? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think I think some people are born naturally like that. I mean, I know a few people, and ever since I know them, I saw them stay. So I look like them born so. But then it's also a habit that can be cultivated. That's something that can be nurtured. It's something that can be nurtured in all of us. And I think it's an assignment that that is upon all of us to control your emotion, control, don't just say because that's what you're feeling at the moment. Because later on you're gonna feel different and you don't say that already. Later on you're gonna feel different and you don't do that already.
You can't take it back.
And you can't take it back.
Yeah.
So the man who cannot control his emotion, he always gonna come back apologizing because him did act when he did feel that way there, now him not feel that way there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's not who you didn't mean it.
You didn't mean it.
I always go back and say you didn't mean it, It's just how you were feeling.
Exactly.
And so you just acted out of how you were feeling for the moment at the time, and it went south, as they would say, got worse, got out of hand, out of control, and so now you're in a much bigger predicament.
And this is no knock on females. I think it's just a natural female energy, but females are very emotional, and females tend to act out of that emotion. You get a woman upset, brother, you're the end of it,
No,
and
because that is the nature of a woman. That's
the nature of a woman. No, the other thing about a woman now is that women don't like to apologize. A woman would your wife upset you and do something where she knows that she know if you do, and she throw two words where she know if you throw it, or she act a certain way. Rather than come back to you later and say, you know what, babe, I'm sorry, she'd prefer take up your shoes them and clean them, and she'd prefer do everything for sure, so she'd sorry rather than say I am sorry. Women don't like apologize.
Because the emotional part of you cannot apologize. It have to be something that you can reason.
Correct.
So that's where the conscious mind comes in, where you reason or you try to make sense out of nonsense, and you realize that no, that wasn't right. So it's the logical mind will reason things out and come to the agreement or the realization that that was not necessary. But when you're emotional, it cannot reason.
Cannot reason.
No. There's no time.
Reason.
So this is why in a woman's nature, it's like that. Because the conscious mind is the reason mind, it's the subjective mind, not the reason mind. So once we understand those nature, talking to somebody about that yesterday. Yeah, you there, sir?
Yeah, yes, sir. I'm listening.
Yeah, once we understand those nature, it's easier to communicate or understand each other. But it is the outward, part of consciousness, the male and female, this physical body is the outward expression of consciousness. And we're acting out of sorts, because meaning that we do not recognize that we are one. We don't know that we are one body, one mind, one spirit. We think we are two. So when you think you're separated, one wants to be right and the other wants to be right. Nobody wants to be wrong. Everybody wants to be equal. But in consciousness, as consciousness is, there is no competition with consciousness as in its natural state. The conscious mind knows I have to do something first, and the subjective mind knows I take over after you do something. It knows. There's no right or wrong. It's just a steady flow. But we kind of take it on that sort,
So, Sir Chris, would it be reasonable to conclude that the experiences that we have, you're really experiencing your past emotions?
Yeah.
Because emotion is really energy in motion. So when you feed into an emotion, you give it some energy, you put that energy there into motion, and on the back end of it, it comes back to you in the form of a physical, tangible experience.
Yeah, man, it's exactly how it goes. You know, you first consciously think of something, imagine something, and then it is subjectively appropriated within the subjective mind, the subconscious mind, and then it just expresses itself at some point. So you're never experiencing what you are, you're experiencing what you were, or what you were being.
Ah,
You know?
so the experience again. Remember a few weeks ago when we were saying, when you start experiencing something, don't let it don't let it be around you too much, because it's old news. It's what you're experiencing now is really old news. Is what you had bought into previously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you order that thing from Amazon and it come. The day when it come and the day when you buy it, they buy it already, you know.
It didn't just appear out of nowhere.
It didn't just appear out of nowhere. You buy it, just reach out.
Just reach now. Exactly. So there was a delay
Correct.
between the buying and the delivery, you know?
All people have a saying where them said the chickens come home to roast.
Yes, that's it.
That's all that's happening. The chickens coming home to roast. So when the chicken reach home, not bother start going to a frenzy about it. You should have known that chicken that was coming.
Or if you didn't know, when it does come, you know that if you get emotional about it, you will repeat the state.
Just come back again.
They'll come back again. It's going to be a cycle. So just observe it and let it pass. Because the more passive you are about it, it's like what scripture said, turn the other cheek. It doesn't mean to let somebody punch you in the face. That's not what scripture is telling you. It's talking about your experiences, you know, that are somewhat abrasive or, you know, something you don't desire to experience or have. But just observe it. Like you would observe a thought, like a bad thought. You just observe it. You don't penetrate the thought.
Don't judge it, don't curse it, just observe it.
Just observe it and make it pass. Just like looking at cars in the street. You don't go out there and stand in front of the car. You watch the car pass by. And before you know it, it's out of your sight. If you go out there and try to intervene and stop it, then you don't have to entertain the force.
You're gonna be entangled with a car if you're locked
Exactly.
while you're laying on the ground.
Exactly. So the same thing with your bad thoughts or abrasive thoughts. You just observe them. Our experiences. We're not saying that you don't attend to it, but it's something that you don't get emotionally involved with, at least for too long. You can't get emotional about it, but just for a moment. You don't hold on to the emotion because it will.
Holding on to the emotion is really holding on. It would be like a nickname, Sir Chris. But I mean, if you guys, we're all from the Caribbean diaspora here, and I'm sure, say even in other islands, people call people nickname. A name way. If people call you a nickname, the way you react to the nickname, that's what's gonna determine how long them call it a nickname. Then
that's true.
If you don't like the nickname, don't react. If you react any at all, that live with you.
It sticks. Yep.
So it's the same thing with your bad experiences. Don't just observe them. The best thing you can do when a man call you a name where you don't like is to just agree with him. That's why I say agree with your adversary quickly. If him try call you a nickname and you start call yourself the same nickname in his presence, him stop call yourself and realize it don't bother you.
It don't bother you.
Yeah. Even though silently within it's killing you, but you just smile with him along with it and play along with it and go away them, go put that nickname on somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Reverse psychology, they call it, you know. It's like the person who's trying to psych you out by agreeing, you know, while you're in the way at the time with him. So meaning to let him know that you agree, you know, it doesn't bother you. And it loses its sting because that person or individual wants to make sure that the thing or name they call you irritates you. And once them find out, as I say, certainty, they're gonna continue doing it.
Yes, because he's expecting a particular reaction. When a man call you a nickname, one reaction am I expecting? I may expect you to get mad and don't. But the minute him realize say him not get that reaction there, then it have no value to him to continue doing that. So him go
mess with somebody else because he's gonna get that reaction from it. It's the same thing with when you get your negative responses from your former thoughts. Your experiences come up on you that damn I would make a mistake. Don't dwell on it. Don't dwell on it. If you dwell on it, you're recreating it. Just move on. Observe it. Don't respond to it. Don't respond to it. The worst thing you can do is start blaming somebody else for it. Because now you haven't learned the lesson, so now you have to go repeat that lesson there because you haven't learned the lesson. It's like a man disown him child. It's like a man look at his child, you did sleep with the woman. Here comes this boy, pitney come out, look dead stamp on you go say enough your pity. For the rest of your life, because I feel like men that do that, to him die in grave, to him last breath when him take, that thing is gonna bother him. Within, he might not let anybody know say it bother him, but it has to bother, it have to bother you.
Because internally, he will know or does know.
Have to know.
Just chooses to deny it.
It's the same thing with a woman who give a man a jacket. When a woman give a man an illegitimate child, and you know and yourself said, no, sir, that pitney, I know fit Chris pitney, that pitney, that's her pitney, The woman know, the woman always know.
Yeah.
The woman always knows. Don't make nobody tell you about a woman give a man an illegitimate child and it's a mistake, she didn't know. No, man, she know. Even if while she was pregnant, she wasn't sure which one of the man them get her pregnant. When the pitney they born, she's gonna be looking at that child because she knows that she did mess around with two men. And one day she's gonna see something on that child. Whether it's a look or an act, she's gonna see something where say, no, sir, I can't say that a Chris pitney that man. And she knows, and she might not say anything about it, but she knows. But I'm telling you, to her dying grave, that thing is gonna bother her. That's the same thing like when you deny the results of your own actions. You plant your seed and the tree grow, you say, I know you're a tree and I blame somebody else. Just accept the tree. And you plant it. And don't judge it. Don't curse it. If you call it bad, what are you saying about yourself? You're saying you're bad because you created it. It's just something that you did that doesn't serve you anymore, so you put that aside. It's like a child that has outgrown a tie. When a pitney outgrow the tie, pitney start curse that tie and say, stupid bicycle. No, you just leave it for another child who's going to enjoy it. Move on.
True. So it's all about what we like to call it awareness. That's a very powerful word. It sounds simple, but awareness is a hell of a thing, because it just means that you are in alignment with. You are not out of alignment. You understand, you understand, you comprehend. You may not like, of course, the outcome, but you understand that in order for you to experience it or have the experience, you must have been in alignment with it. So it cannot happen to you unless it came through you. Life is not happening to you; it's happening through you. It's really how it works, because you are the consciousness, the awareness, and only that thing that you are things that you are aware of can confront you. I was having this discussion with a friend of mine yesterday. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I think. And he was saying that if I'm not concerned about the things that Trump is doing and all the different changes, that have been made, and if it's not going to affect me or stuff like that. And I said, it will only affect you if you align yourself with it to say that it is going to affect you. So let's just say it does interfere with your, what do I call it now? Your status or, your life in some way. That is a general reaction or expectation that in some way, somehow, it may intervene. But if you align yourself with that only, it is going to come true. It's going to manifest that it is going to have what I call an adverse reaction because you align yourself with that so-called reality. Remember, the outside reality is a lie. It is not true. It is an illusion. So once you align yourself only with what you align yourself with, once you align yourself with only what you desire to align yourself with, that same thing that is affecting you now will fall under the weight of its own nothingness. It must, because you did not hold that alignment any at all, because it was not your conscious desire to begin with. That was Trump's conscious desire, or whoever is making these decisions and whatnot. That is their conscious desire. But you don't have to align yourself with it. As we just mentioned a while ago, you can observe it. You can see it for what it appears to be. But in your world that you live in, that is the alignment that you stay with in that world, regardless of what's going on around you or near to you, or whatever the case may be. Because once you align yourself only with the thing that you desire to project, these effects that's going on now will dissipate. They will not become your reality. You will see it happening to people. It will be going on. It doesn't mean it's not going to be obvious. You will see it, but you're only just going to be an observer of it happening to people, but not someone it's happening to, not someone who is experiencing it personally. You're only just observing it going on, because that is the stance, the state of mind you took from the very beginning. I'm just going to observe what's going on. I'm not going to go in the way with it. I'm not going to hold on to it so it can drag me, or as Lawrence just says, attach myself to it, because once I become one with it, I must experience it now. Certi said something earlier that they can control your mind. They can control how you think. And so all these things that's going on right now with the economy and with Trump doing what he's doing and whatnot, the minute or moment you make it your problem, make it affect you, emotionally especially, in one way or the other, it's going to affect you on a personal level, because you have entangled your own mind with it. And these people, I like to call them the powers that be, because they understand how the mind works. They do all these things to get a reaction, get you to not act. Because when you act, you're in control. You're seeing something for what it is, you just observe it, and you draw yourself back in within yourself and live in your own reality. It's like living in your own house, and your neighbors are over there quarreling and fighting and doing all that stuff. You don't go over there to your neighbor's house and make that your concern, because you're going to become entangled in it as well. You stay in your house, which is peaceful. Yes, a psychological system. They understand that the mind is who is who we are at our core. We're not this body. We are consciousness. They understand it, so they know that if they can irritate or get a response from the mind, the experience that we internalize must follow. Mr. Make Life Happen says it this way. It says that wherever the mind goes, the feet follows. The feet here is you having the experience. You're grounded to the experience now. You have draw this thing in. So wherever the mind goes, whether it be up or down, or forward or backwards, right or wrong, um, good or bad, wherever the mind goes, and if it stays in that state long enough with emotions and all these different things, then your body, the feet, will follow. You will have the experience. And so I told my friend, and he was arguing with me, that how could it not affect you, you know, and this and that and the third. I'm like, bro, this is not anything new under the sun. Where have you guys been? This thing is happening all the time, over and over. Nothing has changed in terms of their desire or their objectives that they have to keep people confused. It hasn't changed. So you have to be the one who changes from attaching yourself to the negativity or these false statements and fake news and all these different things that they throw out there. Because once you're attached to it, whether it be fake news or not, it will become real for you. It might be fake, but your consciousness will make it real for you. I promise you that. So the world does not know that. That's how it is. Because most people you tell this, they will say you're blaspheming. You're saying that God is not in control. It's you who's in control. Or you're saying the devil is not real. And so people are attached to all these foolishness that was fed to them. And so this is why they feel like I'm going to have to pray to God. I'm just going to have to hope. I'm going to have to just, really, really beg God to spare me and to watch over me and look over me and all this foolishness. But when you say stuff like that, you're really not sure. You're still doubting because you have no certainty, because you're going to have to hope and pray. No, you have to speak with certainty that all is well, despite there will be signs, as we're talking about today, signs, do stop looking for signs. There will be things that go against the thing that you desire. And you will think that the thing that you desire or prayed for or whatever is not happening or not going to happen. But you don't understand that these things are part of the process. There will be interference. It's just how it is. There will be interference. There will be resistance. It's just how it is. Nothing is going to come to you easily and freely, free flowing like that. There is going to be some rejection, some objection, something of the sort. But if you live in the end, meaning to stick to your guns, stick to your vision, live from the end, only dwell in that state of being, regardless of what's going on. All the wars and rumors of wars. Scripture tell you there will be wars and rumors of wars. Despite that, you do not entertain it. I remember signing on the dotted line on the day of when the Twin Towers were taken down to build my house. On that day, I could have just decided, nope, not going to bother do this. I don't know what's going to happen with my job. I don't know what's going to happen with the world. The Lord may soon come and take his place and all this foolishness. I never entertained that. I look at it for what it was. It's not in my area. It's not me. I'm still alive. I desire this house badly. I want it. Life goes on. I can't attach myself to what's going on in New York or in Washington or wherever all this stuff was happening. So I signed the paper. Never bothered me one bit. Never concerned myself with it any at all. And I was not even awake. I didn't know anything about consciousness. This was 2001. This was 5 years before I even knew anything about consciousness and all its foolishness. I didn't know nothing about that. So, but it was just I had read books on Napoleon Hill, and I hang out with positive people and stuff like that. So I guess that's helped to settle my mind to only think about what I desire and not what was going on out there in the world. And so I was in a state of bliss and control, and I never got emotional about it at all. But people are getting emotional about what's going on now. So they're looking at these things as signs, as we're talking today, of bad times to come. These are signs of bad times to come. The good time that we were expecting, they're not coming again. We can't wait for Trump to come out of office and all this stuff. You know, I got news for you. Um, Other Trumps are on the way. All right, after this guy comes out of office. So if we think one individual is going to control, our fortune, our make our fortune, or stop it, we're in for a big surprise. You're the only one who's in control of your fortune. You are the faucet that opens and closes your blessing. All right? You open it up, the blessing will flow. You keep it closed, nothing not gonna flow. You are always in control. Don't let anybody fool you. There is no God in the sky that's in control, no devil, no news, no nothing. You, the observer, the one behind these lens, looking outward, is the one who is in control. Just by a shift in your consciousness, in what you are aware of, will decide your experience. You first must internalize what you desire to happen, despite what's going on outside. That is the trick. That's the hard part. Seeing something that's going on and yet still have the wherewithal to create your own experience, and disregard what's going on. And then just sit and wait for the manifestation, because you're going to still be experiencing all of what's going on. But make sure that once you create in your own imagination the thing desired, you live in that moment going forward. That should be your dwelling place. Your dwelling place is no longer the world or what's going on in the world. Your dwelling place is the thing that you just created. You attach yourself to that, and that thing becomes your desire at some point. When I drew the barbershop, when I drew how I wanted my hair to look and all these different things, and I did that maybe three different times. How I wanted my hair to look when I braided it, because I did it like three different times. But I stuck to that outcome. I didn't think it was not possible. I always knew that it would end up looking like that, but I just knew it's not something that's going to happen overnight. But I held that desire in my mind. I held on to it until it one day manifested, and I could look back and say, I'll be damned. This thing is exactly how I had pictured it. Exactly. And it would not have happened if I had wavered in my faith or dwelling place or state. It would never have happened. I would have somehow miscarried that desire, that I had, because I lost my expectation, because I got caught up with the world and all that there is going on with it. So what's in your heart being your consciousness, primarily your subconscious, what's in your own being is your own world. And unfortunately, we take the outside and put it inside. And that's why we experience these things. Never take the outside. Stay within. That's right. The noise of the world, shut it out. Keep it out. It's a blazing fire. Don't add fire to fire. Don't add fuel to fire. Add water. Add some type of suppressant. Don't fight fire with fire. um, always use the something that opposes the fire. You know, um, that is natural. Nothing that you have to force. And you put the fire out and you keep it moving. But once you become engulfed in the world and all the negativity and the this ease and all these things that's going on, you're going to do nothing more than continue to express it outwardly for yourself over and over and over and over again. And this is what scripture talk about. um you know burning in the lake of fire. There is no lake of literal fire. The lake of fire is your experiences that are adverse, that you keep repeating over and over and over. That is the hell that you live in over and over and over, because these are just perpetual thoughts, perpetual involvement. And so these things must become perpetual outwardly as well. So, so signs are not what we're looking for here, guys. Stop looking for your signs. You have a particular desire / design. Those two words are the same: desire, design. You do not go in search of the evidence of the wish fulfilled. You don't look for signs of it manifesting, because you're going to see signs of it not manifesting, and you're going to lose your faith. You're going to lose your motivation. Okay? Always stick to what the thing that you desire and live in that end. I cannot say it any more than that. Let's see what let see right here. That's why there's a lot of hate crimes and killings going on. People get caught up, and it feels that's right. And they it's at the point where they don't realize that they are, reacting what they first acted in their mind. They're 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 they have this impulse to go out there and do these things, um, because they got emotional about all of what's going on, and they're living in the end, so to speak, of what they had imagined or think is best to fix the so-called situation or whatever. And so they're going out there consciously forcing a solution, by acting in violence or some kind of disobedience, and it's not going to solve anything. It's only going to worsen the situation. Everything is solved from within. You will be inspired to do things, to act appropriately, and fix or align with, I like to say, your desired outcome. So that's your flow state. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to force it. It will come naturally, to the point where, as Never say, you might say, or a friend might say, it was going to happen anyway. It's not true. It was not going to happen anyway. It happened the way you had imagined it. And so if you had imagined it to be an adverse outcome, that would have happened. And they would still say that was going to happen anyway, because they think that there's some omnipotent being out there that is controlling everything. And when you really internalize that, It is really, really foolish to even think like that, because there would make no sense for you to have a desire or have a conscious mind and having any say so in anything, because you're gonna have to hope the person, this God in the sky, feels the same way you do, and appropriate, your desire based on how, this God in the sky is feeling. So everything is incumbent upon you. All right, you're the one desiring, and you're the one manifesting your desires all at the same time. Whether they be good or bad. You're the search. You said it earlier. You're the gardener, the conscious mind, and you're the garden, the subconscious. You're the farmer and the gardener and the garden at the same time. Okay, so we have so many examples of life itself showing us how our mind behaves and how our consciousness behaves, the nature of our consciousness, but we are so oblivious to it because we get caught up in the world. We don't see that every species have two sexes, male and female. Doesn't matter what the species are. Everything is male and female. You understand? Everything takes two to create something. But these two things are one. That's why they can create. They have to be compatible. They just have different behavior in order to make the thing work. But they are one solid force that comes together when it's time to create, something, an offspring, something from them that is them, So many examples of it that we see, but we're oblivious because we're all caught up in the world of illusion, so but yes, guys, it's now almost 12:30, so we're going to end the show, in a few minutes. Surti, any final words? I don't know if you're able to jump in as we close out. Not sure if you're caught up with paperwork, or stuff like that still. But next week, of course, next week is the 15th, I think. Yeah, the Sunday coming up is the 15th. We'll be back next week with another interesting topic. We're going to call this one, how they always say, it is what it is. We have to stop saying that. We have to say, it is what I say it is. Okay? It is what I say it is. Because when you leave it to it is what it is, you're taking your power and giving it to someone else. You're relinquishing your power, your control. Your decision is no longer necessary because you have allowed someone to decide for you. So you decide for yourself. So our topic for next week, it is what I say it is. And whatever that is, All right, so we're going to come back next week and talk about some scenario situations, whatnot, that you can use that simple sentence right there to change the narrative or to change your expected outcome and whatnot. Okay, so it is what I say it is. That's our next topic coming up next week. In the meantime, today, again, stop looking for signs and they will come looking for you. Just simply means that your manifestations will come upon you like a thief in the night if you just live in the end of the manifestation itself. Do not concern yourself with signs, any external experiences or outcomes that's out there, because it's going to relinquish, diminish, delay your experience, your expected outcome. It's going to slow down or negate entirely your outcome because you have caught up in this whirlwind of signs, okay? And they are not your manifestations. These are just processes. What do you call it? Stages, different things, coincidences, incidences that may happen, but they are going to end up bringing forth your manifestations. But because they are up and down and good and bad, or whichever way you want to look at them, once you're looking at the signs, you are going to diminish what you have desired, and you're going to miscarry this desire. Okay? So stop looking at signs, stop looking for signs. Just look out for your desired outcome only. Until then, stop looking for signs. Everything will come to you at its desired at the right moment. All right. So that's it, guys. Thank you all for being here, for joining. Have a happy and wonderful rest of your Sunday and your week. And we'll be back again next week, Sunday, June 15th, right back here on the One Great I Am Awakening. Love you all. Over and out. Peace.